Good morning, good morning. So, three things that you need to do to get the job that you really want. This is James Foster and Careers Matter. So, three things. Now, I've put these in an order that, from a sales perspective, might be the reverse of the way around that you'd really think to do things from a sales perspective. But there's a reason for that, and we'll come up with that in a moment. However, the first thing is that you need to determine what value you really have to offer, and therefore what it is that you have from yourself that you can sell in terms of your employment ability, if you see what I mean. So in other words, what is it that you do and can do that adds value that companies are going to want to buy? Where, what have you achieved? What success have you had in your career? And what impact has that had on the businesses that you've worked with, and what difference has it made? What value has it added? That's really the very first thing that you need to determine, because in understanding what value you have to offer, then you can start to put together a pitch as to why somebody is going to want to buy your service. So that's the first thing. You then have to demonstrate that you have this talent, this expertise, that you can add this value. And you do this by demonstrating exactly where you have done it for a previous employer, for example. There may be, you may have done it for yourself in your own business, of course, and that obviously qualifies too. But you have to show where you have added value already in the work that you have done for others. Now, obviously, I understand that people are in startup environments, and that this doesn't necessarily seem to occur to apply to them. Except that you can go back into your school, into your university, into your college, and you can demonstrate where you have made an impact and had added value along the way. If you've done something within the community, for example, if you have done something, but maybe you've done a particular scheme, or there was something involved in your dissertation or whatever that can demonstrate the value that you can bring to something. So it is possible to go back even if you haven't been in a working environment before, but if you have, you need to look at the jobs that you've done. You need to look at the success you've had in those jobs, and then relate and then work out how to present that information in a way that is going to be attractive to a potential employer. So first of all, just recapping there, first of all, determine what the value is you have to offer, then demonstrate that you've already delivered that value. And then this is the bit you might find a little bit out of kilter. In other words, good morning, Angela. A little bit out of order. But the final thing is to define the market in terms of companies, and therefore potential hiring managers within those companies that are maybe going to want to buy what it is that you have to offer. So who is going to employ you for what you do and for the value that you bring? Now, in a traditional sales environment, you would define your market first, and you would determine what's actually going to sell, why it's going to sell, who is going to be buying it, and what they're going to be paying for it. And then what you would then do is position yourself to sell that and produce a value proposition. What I'm talking about is you do this in the other order. You understand what value proposition you already have, and you demonstrate where you've already delivered that value, and then go into the market and find out who's going to buy it. And the reason why that's acceptable in this type of an environment is because you've already sold it and you already know it's selling. It has to be relevant. Of course, it has to be relevant. Things do get dated, and they do they do disappear off the work environment, shall we say? But provided that what you've been doing is still relevant, provided that the environment that you're working in is still in demand, then all you need to do is study the market, find out what companies are buying exactly the skills that you have to sell, and who within that market is going to be looking at those skills and interested in those skills, and therefore will want to know about the value that you've already taken into your previous employers in terms of the function of the job that you do. So what you're therefore saying to them is, I can solve your problems because I've solved problems for my previous employers. I know the challenges you're having because my previous employers had those challenges, and I help them overcome those challenges in this way. So that is how you can sell yourself into a potential opportunity. That you don't even need to know whether there is an opportunity in the first place. You just need to know that it is the type of company that is going to be interested in what you have to sell. And then the type of problems, the type of frustration, what issues they have, what challenges they have that you can help them with, and then you present yourself and position yourself to them as being the solution to those problems. And that way, you're going to be able to get at the jobs that you really want, as opposed to the jobs that are simply available. Far too often in the standard job market, people are left thinking that they have to go for just the jobs that are being advertised. And that's just not the case, because the jobs that are being advertised are not the only jobs that are available out there. There are a whole host of jobs that people get that are never advertised, or that are filled before they actually get advertised, or that are filled through the back office, as it were, whilst they're being advertised. In other words, not through the advertising process. So what this technique, what I am talking to you about this morning, is a means to get at those jobs that are not advertised, or get at jobs that are being advertised without going through the advertising process. And in doing so, you set yourself above everybody else within that process. You minimize the competition for that particular job. And in fact, you could look at this in a completely different way, because you're therefore not applying for a job. You're actually selling your skills, your ability, and the success that you've had. So this is a sales proposition as opposed to applying for a job. And if you look at it in that way, and you approach it in that way, it's a completely different environment. No longer are you being held up in comparison to somebody else. No longer are you being held up for what's appearing on your CV. What you're now being measured against is what you've managed to achieve and the success that you've had for other companies that you've worked for. And I think that's really important. So hopefully that's been some value to you. And one of the things that we provide as a service for our clients as Careers Matter, so for you, people like you, is to help you to work through that process, to understand the value that you bring to the market, to define the market, and to present yourself to that market and how to do it. And we show you how to do that. If you want to know more about this, there is a link with this video. If you click on that link, you'll be able to book yourself a 20-minute consultation with me to start to discuss how we can help you to take this forward, and how we can help you to get your career to the next level, and how we can show you how to get the job that you really want. This is James Foster and Careers Matter.